video
and
have
not
seemingly
mosh
no
pitting.
reaction. I'm depleted. I'm depleted this morning. I woke up feeling nothing good. Nothing
Did
worse.
you see the weather outside, bro? I'm not even blaming you or
nice
the movie
outside.
or anything. It's not
Nice outside now.
It's cloudy.
Yeah, the clouds do be clouded. But it's fitting. It's fitting. It all makes sense to me because this is a movie that we just saw. That we're like, what the hell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? You probably would have gotten the best episode of podcast in the history of the world of podcasts if you would have mic'd me up as soon as that movie ended. And by best episode, I mean you would have gotten pure silence. What the hell, man? Like I don't know what words to use. I don't know where to start.
I know where to start, but you won't like it.
Well, what the fuck then? I don't know. So go for it then. Start.
Have you gone through Letterboxd and looked at the reviews?
So have you read my review on Letterboxd?
I haven't read your review, but I've read reviews.
So this is where we're gonna start. We're gonna start with me.
But make a PowerPoint presentation. Just pull up the website.
I'm not making a PowerPoint presentation. I'm pulling up my review.
Well, that's my point.
Because
make it a presentation, just like if you use the web.
Oh, you want me to share my screen?
Yeah.
You want to see it? All right. Oops. Wait a second. Essentially, the movie we're talking about today is Warfare. Warfare is a movie that just came out. It premiered a month ago, and it just released to mass audiences yesterday, Friday, April 11th, 2025. We saw it. And it's essentially, for anybody who doesn't know Warfare, it's or actually, Nick, go ahead, find that, like, kind of go and just describe what it is, and I'm just going to pull up the,
all right,
my thing.
Well, Warfare is centered around, I'm going to just read the fucking
read what we got, because it's hard to pinpoint.
In 2006 Iraq, a Navy SEAL platoon occupies an Iraqi family's home for a surveillance op in Ramadi's insurgent turf, led by Ray, which is actually the co-director of this movie, which we'll talk about more.
Yeah, the real life co-director.
Yeah, real guy. They overwatched U.S. forces until an ambush. IUDs or IEDs?
IUD is a contraceptive, so IED is for sure the bomb.
There you go. Grenades on fire, and then it turns into a real-time hellscape. Wounded and trapped, they fight to survive, blending brotherhood and chaos. A visceral, memory-driven dive into modern combat's raw edge.
It's a shit show for about 95 minutes, and it had my heart racing in a way that I didn't feel very comfortable. But essentially, what I did when I got home after watching this movie is I went to Letterboxd, because what else am I supposed to do? And I started to read reviews. And I wrote my own because I was very mad. It took me like 3 hours to review this movie after watching it. And this is why. I'm going to share my screen, but I'll read my review. Essentially, if I made any typos, forgive me. I have big thumbs and a keyboard. iPhone keyboard is small. But I wrote here, let's get some things clear, because the discourse around this film is plagued with ridiculous, nonsensical conversation about war commentary. I'm not American. I haven't, and never will have, seen a war film and felt patriotic in any way. Perhaps it's because at heart I'm a pacifist, or maybe it's just because I'm too sensitive to humanity. Regardless, anyone who watches this movie and goes straight to Letterboxd to say, this is a US propaganda movie, or it's the longest Call of Duty mission ever, must have accidentally slipped into a screening of Save It Private Ryan instead of this, because I'm genuinely confused as to how you got here from what you just watched if you saw Warfare. The movie ditches plot for something so interesting, something so undermined in war films. Technical perfection. You know what's better than cheering for a war hero from the comfort of your couch? Feeling like you're right there with them as they do everything they can to make it out of there alive. The fear on their faces, the deafening sound design, the camera working intricately with the audio to deliver a deliberately focused experience unlike no other. This is a masterpiece in filmmaking. But I did say it ditches plot. Keep in mind the, air quotes. Sure, it avoids a hero's journey with side characters, various locations, and a complete arc overarching the whole thing. But that's not what war really is. That's not what this is trying to do. These guys took over a house, and 90 minutes later, there was no more house, and every single character's life was forever changed. Because that's all it takes. And that's all this movie needs.
There you go. Pot over. We got our thing. Like, I love your take on this though, because for what you highlight is so many times people go into a movie expecting like cues to like check off for a list in order to get the 5 stars, or instead of looking at what the byproduct is supposed to be and what you're supposed to get out of it. Like, why would I rate an orange 5 stars if I give it the same criteria as a hamburger? You know, like how could I do this? It can't. And you're highlighting this perfectly, because public reception is one thing, but like, of all places in the world, Letterboxd is the only place where you could actually just look at the movie and 99% of the time just have a genuine opinion based on the people's take that are for the movie, and not based on like what their political views are. And this is one of the rare exceptions.
Of what a movie is based off. But this is a movie purely about perspective. Is that what I knew? When you started, you said, I'm going to start with the Letterboxd thing. That's what you were talking about, right? How people have just been going crazy about this movie, like talking about. And I was so like discouraged because, and let me kind of go into it. On YouTube, I watch a guy named Jonathan Fuji. Jonathan Fuji's kind of implemented that idea about how this movie does deal with commentary. What is this movie trying to say? And he actually said, well, it feels like confirmation bias. If you think the American military are heroes, well, this movie will not tell you otherwise. And if you think that they're bad for taking over innocent people's homes, well, this movie confirms that as well. But when I went to Letterboxd, that's when I really realized, like, people are mad. Like, people are genuinely mad or genuinely over the moon, so happy with this. And it all depends on how you see it. As you could tell, like in that first part I read in my own review, there's no part of me that feels like this movie is even remotely attempting to be like a U.S. powerhouse.
Social commentary or like a specific opinion.
To me, it's not a very patriotic film. Like, I never felt like it was.
You know why it doesn't feel like one, but it is? Because the actors do such a great job of portraying that they're doing this for something beyond themselves. And the point of cracking is when they stop worrying about like their country and they start worrying for themselves. That is exactly why I don't feel like it's a patriotic movie. My point too.
Because hell, all these other patriotic war films, it always comes down to like the flag on their chest, and we're brothers because we're American. Well, these guys in the movie are brothers because, bro, if you don't keep your hand on my leg, I'm gonna die. Please don't let me die. Like, you know, like, and that, and also, like, I have to do that. I can't help myself. Alex Garland's British. Poulter, Quinn are British. They're the two biggest names attached to this thing. I can't remember the man's name, but I'm going to pull it up right in front of me. The man who plays Elliot, Cosmo Jarvis, is also British. The Pharaoh Miska, I can never say his name, Wutai, who plays Ray himself, is Canadian. Like, this is not an American product. Like, these guys are not coming out going like, USA. It's not one of those, and it's not a bad thing. But I'm like, I know Garland's British. Ray Mendoza is an American Navy SEAL. But the draw that I have from this is these guys are not trying to show you how cool it is to be a U.S. military and fight for your flag.
If anything,
it's the pure opposite. Yeah. It's fucking terrifying. Like, I said this to I don't know if he cares for his name. Actually, he watches every episode. I'm gonna shout it out. Shal. Shal in English, it's Charles, but I'm gonna call him Shal because that's his fucking name. he's the biggest viewer of the podcast. I can't even.
Let's go.
He is. Shout out Shao. And we saw this movie with him, and I walked out and I said, "That's scarier than most horror movies." This movie is scarier than most horror films are, and it's not spooky. It's downright terrifying. Sound. First of all, you can break down this movie technically piece by piece and see how great it is, but just the vision that they're trying to portray. These guys went through 90 minutes, and the movie takes place in real time. So 90 minutes is 90 minutes. But imagine 90 minutes and their lives were changed forever. Hell, you can do something for 90 minutes in a day and it doesn't even feel like it took that long.
Mm-hmm. You could watch a movie for 90 minutes and you wouldn't even think about it.
You forget about it tomorrow. These guys, this experience is so cemented for them that like Ray Mendoza makes a movie about his brothers, well his his band of brothers that were there with him that day for 90 minutes. Doesn't that not make anybody else like terrified? I do anything for 90 minutes and I'm like, okay, move on to the next thing. These guys 90 minutes change the course of how they see the world. Like, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. As a movie, I said it. You ditch plot. You ditch plot, traditional plot. But like, do you need it?
Nope.
Plot is the most. Can be the most insignificant thing sometimes.
Plot is the epitome of self-serving, where like you think you need it because you rely on it so heavily. When you have something that can just exist on its own and be its own thing, plot is secondary. We talked about that a little bit about when we talked about the Mario movie.
Yeah,
how like plot and just the way
ironically comparing Warfare to the Mario movie.
No, but you see the point though. Like plot can take a back seat when the identity of your final product is bigger than its story. And Warfare is just that. Like just like Mario movie was about the character and the world and having this fun adventures for everyone. This movie was more so to expose to you the horror of like war in general, and in a way that is, I remember I said this right before the movie starts. Again, was talking with Shao, and Shao was like, I don't know like where to pinpoint this movie exactly yet, and I'm like, all you got to know is that it's gonna be unique. And
that's what I remember. You said that exactly as the thing was about to close. You're like unique, and I heard you say unique, but in my head I was like, unique for sure, undoubtedly. But then you watch it and you really understand how specific of a movie this is. It is not a it's not a film that is imitating anything else. It's purely itself. And I think that only works because you have Ray Mendoza, who is actually there directing it.
And the real-time nature of it too.
Yeah,
it helps tremendously.
Yeah, for sure. But Alex Garland, it really serves as the filmmaker helping this. He's just saying like, okay, we are making a movie, so this is how we got to manipulate cameras and stuff. Ray Mendoza is telling them, guys, this is what we have to. This is what it was. Like you have to be like this because this is how it is. And you know, I have it right here. Fun fact: Mendoza, the director, he's a Silver Star SEAL veteran. He relived that moment, the firefight, and the cast trained with the real veterans. And this is something that you see at the end of the movie. They show behind the scenes footage of the men who are being portrayed by actors coming to the set to help them follow motion. This is what it is. You're going to step like this. You're going to turn like this. The whole movie comes off as extremely realistic for that, and it's because of that. They made a movie. They did it right. They didn't Hollywoodize or dramatize anything. The screams of a person suffering feel real. They hurt to hear. And the shout out Joseph Quinn. He spends like most of this movie yelling, but that's what this movie is. Like it's pain. Like, like it's a lot of pain being relived on screen. I don't know how hard it must be for those men to rewatch something like this. A lot of the men's faces are blurred in when they're comparing pictures and videos. A lot of faces are blurred. I think a lot of men might not want to have to relive this constantly. Like
I don't think that's why they were blurred though. It's either because they were like still operating amongst the rank of the US like military, so that they had to have their identity blurred.
Perhaps.
Or like they perhaps like passed away and they didn't want to like
maybe it's
post-obituary
just it's just a wild it's wild, right? But to me, you get such, like you mentioned it earlier, but visceral, raw performances from these guys and you could tell that they worked with the vets. You could tell that in this specific situation, actors walked onto a movie set and said, "We have a lot to learn. We're not. This is not an I got this role. This is not like easy money. No, this is fuck. Okay, I gotta walk like them. I gotta walk." And my favorite performance, although everybody's great, everybody's great. But my favorite performance is Will Poulter, who is the leader of so essentially Team 1, Team 2. And Will Poulter is the leader of Team 1. And essentially what happens to him as a team lead, to me, that the movie does a great job at handling what it means to be a leader. You feel responsible for the men,
everything
your team,
that's going on.
And when it all goes to shit, well, do you elevate to the next level of leadership, or do you crumble in shock? And Will Poulter's acting is your loss for, like, a hug won't do enough for this guy. Like,
nothing to do. Like he's like past saving point. Like he needs just time.
In this moment, he need and then it plays out so well. You got Charles Melton's character in the later part of the movie who comes. The movie, I can sit, and this is terrible that this is how you have to watch movies sometimes, but you can sit and think about the things that you would have liked to have seen differently, and eventually just you will exhaust yourself when you realize there is nothing else. My regret is not having seen it in IMAX on Wednesday and going to see it on a regular screen. Like, that's the only thing I regret, because this movie benefits from the technical ability of better audio and better visual.
Audio was great in a regular theater as well, so like don't make it stop.
Oh, sound design is crazy.
Yeah. Like
no, I didn't mean it as a slight. The
like
sound design is impeccable.
On point. Like I was in the car again lifting Shal, and I was like, "This is the reason why we tell people to go in theater." You were like, I couldn't even like tell you otherwise. Like, I love watching movie at home.
Did you not get freaked out when the dogs barked from behind you?
Bro,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like there was a scene where they're in the house and they're looking out the windows, and depending on what window you saw on screen, the sound sounded differently, and it was beaming all around the house. They made the house the middle point and played sounds all around it,
as if you were in the house,
as if you were in the house with them, which is like it was extremely hard to deny the ability, the technical ability that Alex Garland brings to a movie like this, because Ray Mendoza is the man who could direct the actors to be like the SEAL team, but Alex Garland is a technical filmmaker. And ironically, I think this comparison needs to be made right away. Just last year, we watched Civil War, directed by Alex Garland, and you and I both felt very
unfulfilled.
Yeah, it was lackluster. But one thing that Garland does well in Civil War, sound design, the visual, and the way that he utilizes his camera and his audio combined. Every time you focus on a character, you hear what they hear. But this movie is the next level. This is his technical meets his objective, meets the plot, meets the movie, makes this whole thing what it is. I sat here on a pod a week ago and was talking about how The Hurt Locker was the best war movie ever made. I felt serious doubt when I was watching Warfare last night.
I don't want to like start like this like hour-long discussion about that comparison, but this is where Letterboxd people kind of get it right, though. This movie, for all we might like about it, is not a prototypical regular movie. And I don't think there's the art value of it. Not that it gets lost, but it sacrifices for the sake of its of the way it wants to present reality, which I'm glad it made that choice. But to me, it doesn't put it in the same conversation as a movie, because the way it delivers its message is not movie-esque in a way. Like, you're really just confronted to reality. Like, you're peering, it's as if you were watching through a bulletproof window what is going down. Whereas with The Hurt Locker, you get so much more, again, in terms of character development, in terms of plot, in terms of everything that just builds to craft something. This is storytelling.
I didn't feel so. Like, I've heard this argument be made: Warfare has no character development. What is character development? Is it the arc? You need the arc? Because I don't need the arc to understand who somebody is, and that's what's important about a character. Who are they? Why do they feel this way? And this, what I'll give Mendoza and Garland, they do not take their audience for stupid people. If you're watching this movie, it's because you're willing to understand and see how these people are. I said this to you last night. It's all on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
One thing goes wrong, you could tell exactly what every man in the room is feeling. Some of them are scared, some of them are shocked, some of them are never going to recover from what they've seen, and some of them are hopeful, level-headed, focused.
I think it's going to be a crazy argument, but I think it's the same way that, like, given that we've said Hurt Locker is our favorite war movies in general, this argument might not be as relevant, but it's like the people that say Come and See is the best war movie, or like the most like realistic, or / the most traumatizing, or like all of it, like it just is the war movie. And to me, the same argument applies to Warfare. It goes in the same category as Come and See. It's
like traumatizing an audience.
It is,
but that's not a bad thing.
It's not. But what do you want out of a movie? At the end of the day, if I had to pick one movie to bring with me on an island, that type of deal. Well, I'm not picking Warfare if I have to pick one movie to bring with me on an island. But what I'm trying to say is, movie reception is relative to the objective that you have when you make it, right? Warfare's goal is to entertain. Is it to educate? Is it to showcase what it is, or is it to pay homage?
And to me, the way I saw it, it leans more in a world of like paying tribute to the troops, paying tribute to the efforts, a criticism on military tactic in a way, and then the humanity of that, and in that way, it succeeds. So that's where I feel like you can't fail. Whereas, it's the most obvious example, but Saving Private Ryan is an entertainment piece. It's we're going to do this and we're going to argue and yell at each other. It's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't look the same. This feels different. This is more successful to me because it takes itself more. It has a more specific goal and it achieves that goal rather than just. Warfare could have been entertaining. Warfare is entertaining, but it's doing something more than that. It has more to say.
It's not even that it has more to say. It's that it forgets that it's a movie and just shows you the world for what it is. When you compare it to Saving Private Ryan, you almost feel this inevitable downfall of there's a character that needs to die now, or like there's a human, or like someone that needs to like fight and get really injured, and someone needs to come in to save them, or
because
all of that.
That's the hero's journey.
Yeah, and that is
gotta fail. Someone's gonna fail somewhere, right?
And you expect that out of a movie. But in this movie, you realize that all of those stories across decades of movies are bullshit, because when you see those people fight, you want no one to die. Ever.
Actually, what I realized the most is you just mentioned the hero's journey. Someone's got to fail at some point. In warfare, what you've realized is they're there, and that's failure already. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be there, but they're there, having to do things that the movie kind of presents in a way where they don't want to do these things, and then it's the pressure that gets to you to a certain point where you just have to say, I'm doing it no matter, like, I got no choice. As this is a whole lot of what warfare communicates. The soldier has no choice. This is the mission. This is what they have to do.
He's receiving an order.
And then when something goes wrong, how long does it take for them to realize that the order, like screw the mission, we don't want to die today, and that's what this movie does so well, because there is not a single moment. There's not a single Hollywood moment in it where a soldier gets told, go up there, and they go, I'll do anything for the red, mm-hmm. white, and blue. Like, they don't do that. Like, the guy's like, cover the stairs, and he's like,
He just like, fucking do it.
Yeah, they yell at each other because it's like pressure. Pressure is mounting, but no one wants to. Everybody wants to make it, and I don't know, man. It's so many. There's props to everybody who works on this movie. Everybody. I will say this: we thought that it was. I've heard on Letterboxd as well. People have said it's like the loudest movie they've ever heard. This movie is loud.
It's not like loud. I've heard louder.
No, I've heard louder too. But this movie is loud. But apparently the audio, the sound design, the deafening sound design, was used on set. Like, Alex Garland made it so that the actors would have to deal with this audio. Like, and so Will Poulter actually said, I have it here. He said he couldn't hear for days after filming. He couldn't hear anything. There's this thing that happens in this movie called the Show of Force, mm-hmm. which is
a real thing. By the way,
that's a top 10. That's a top 10 shot I've seen this year. They put the camera at the end of the street and they have a jet just fly by. It's all CGI, but it looks fantastic.
That's not my top 10 shot from that movie though, because I have one.
Oh my! The Show of Force is
it's not
insane.
Mine is.
It's so pretty.
It's when he the first time around, when he walks to the tank and like there's this beautiful scenery. You remember this scene right before like it explodes? Like, they walk in, there's Will Porter's characters that's looking out, and there's like this beautiful landscape. And
from the other end of the street, you see the landscape in the back, and they're all coming out, and then it
and then it just goes, pow. It's like that beautiful
a bomb
scene.
Goes off.
It's like
it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, bro, it was the biggest jump scare I've ever had in the theater. Everyone jumped. Literally everyone jumped.
Jump in jump scares, but this, and that's why this movie is so effective in its own world, because part of war is. I've never been to war, so I can't even sit here and commentate like I know. But the movie communicated the fact that these guys are trying to find safety. They have to double check, triple check, ask twice, do it twice, double check, protect. There's so many little things that go into it that one slip up literally costs you your entire life.
Mm-hmm. And life. Life is the essence of this movie.
Oh yeah, life, and each other. The support that they have, the faith that they have in each other, that they're gonna make it out together. Because if one guy doesn't do his job, well, then it's over for everybody.
And it's for me, where I was more leaning towards that, but I like your point too. Is just I know I think I said it like one time on this pod, but for me, movies, what they truly are is a reflection of our world and how like humanity is as like an entity. And this movie it's one of the rare movies that I could confidently say just shows you the real true value of life, like the existence, because it's something that you see the soldiers willingly and repeatedly sacrifice for the sake of something, regardless of what it is. And the idea that sacrifices goes hand in hand with that idea of existing, just it's a choice, and you're faced with that like choice. And death has never been so palpable in a movie for me compared to this one. Like devastatingly so.
Well,
Like
yeah,
it's not a
like
lingering death. You're not dying like of suffering because you have like a tragic disease or some shit. It really just is. You're a small speck of dust in the entirety of what's going on.
You know what really happened? What really kind of passed that idea through to me is there's a scene where a bomb goes off, and there's a guy who's on the ground. He's lost his legs. He's finished. Like he's dead. And the soldiers have to gather everybody who's still alive, and they go back inside, and that guy is left outside. And they never go back to him. Like he's just there. It's finished. And what you realize in that moment is you don't die. You die immediately. First of all, that's obvious. But when you're at war, the reality is they might not get to put you in the coffin with the flag and the bro, you could just be there. Mm-hmm. Like that's the harshness of it. Like your last known spot was this sidewalk in Iraq. Like, sorry. And in that moment, I was like, oh wow, okay, they really gotta just leave him there. And it's not because the guys can't go get his half body.
Mm-hmm. If anything,
it's because they want to do everything they can. But the problem is, there's some men in here that are still going to live to see tomorrow, and we have to prioritize them. Something that also messed me up is the psychological torment that you put yourself through when you're in near fatal pain. Joseph Quinn's character is perfect in this movie. Mm-hmm. Massive injuries that he goes through, and they call in the Casevac, which is the like military ambulance, like the tanks to escort them out, and they're calling him, and we gotta get you to come, whatever, you know, like, and they keep calling them and trying to get them to come and save them, and well, the problem is the guy who's on the floor almost dead or dying because of the loss of blood, he can hear you repeatedly say that you got to hurry up because if not we're going to lose men. Mm-hmm. And the guy's on the floor going, what's wrong? Because he doesn't even know. There's so much shock, so much pain, you don't even know what's wrong with you. And I was watching it in that moment, and I'm like, that's really what it is. Like, imagine where you have no clue if you're going to make it or not, and you're hoping that when they're saying severely wounded, they're not talking about you. Like, you know? Mm-hmm. And I was just watching that, and it shook me to my core, because I'm like, I'd hate to be him. First of all, I'd hate to be him. But really, what my biggest, the biggest feeling I felt was just sadness. These guys are in so much pain for trying to get out of where they were, like, you know, like, because of war. Because really, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's crazy. It ties into like the end of the movie, but it's to realize that they're in so much pain, so much trauma, so much like loss for what is seemingly an like insignificant mission. Like they're doing something. They're like getting intel. But they
did nothing. They didn't have to do anything.
It was not like the house. It was not the super operation to get like world research or world search terrorists or some shit. It was really just they're gathering intel, and it went to shit. It's like this is every day for like
in war for them. Yeah, you never know.
And that is the crazy part.
Garland, Mendoza. What they did so well is they sandwiched a military mission with the Iraqi family. Mm-hmm. The first sequence of the movie, which is masterful, by the way. First of all, that scene that you see in the trailer with all of the military men jumping around the computer and dancing, that's the first scene of the movie. And then it hard cuts to pitch black, middle of the night, The military men are going to take over a house. I knew right away when I saw that cut. I'm like, this is technically going to be outstanding. The audio design that they're already doing with the loud music to cut to nothing to tiptoeing in the street, and the troops are just friends. Like they're messing around. One of them's humping the air. The other one's dancing on the sidewalk. Like they're joking because they're just guys in the middle of nowhere, just trying to see tomorrow, go home, and so they take the house, and there's an Iraqi family in the house, and they kind of just tell them, go in that room and be quiet. You can't move. You can't, whatever. We're taking your house. Okay. I'm building off of the point you just made when you said the guys go home, they're fighting for nothing, and if they're lost and desperate, they've lost so much, whatever. They're so affected. What I love that Garland does is he shows the flip side of the coin, where those military men all leave in the truck and they're going to go back to base and they're going to be okay. And at the end of the day, they will go back to America and live in their home. And when that Iraqi family comes out, the man and his sister and his wife and the 2 kids, and they're all in big tears, and he's telling them to calm down because everything's going to be okay. Because they literally just blew the roof off the house and the house has gone to shit. But he's saying they're gone, we're going to be safe. That hurts to see because it's the flip side. The Americans have lost so much. They lost the troop. They lost legs. But they will go home. Well, these people are in their home, and their home is ruined in 90 minutes. It was ruined because you can go into Americans are not supposed to be that. You could say the whatever.
That's when the political argument comes through and like the critiques come in. But again, it's not a critique of the movie; it's a critique of reality. At that point.
No, and that kind of ties back into where we started with the letterbox conversation, where I said I don't understand how you could watch this and feel like it's a U.S. praise fest because the fact that he includes the scene of that family coming back into their house and seeing it's destroyed, to me, what came through to me is, oh, they did all this, first of all, for nothing. They didn't gain any ground. They don't have more intel. They lost a man. They left. And they destroyed a family's home.
And you see that too when the soldiers of the opposite side come like on the street. Just like scattering and like regrouping. They're just looking around.
They all come out of different areas. They were so close to them. Like, that's kind of what it felt like at the end. I'm like, they were that close the whole time. They were right there. And what I noticed too is the Iraqi soldiers at the end, when they all come onto the street, it felt like, no joke, don't laugh. You know in Home Alone, when the 2 grown-ass burglars come with their crowbars and their tools, and Kevin McAllister's inside with makeshift nonsense? That's the impression I got when the Iraqi soldiers took the street. Because I'm like, the U.S. military, camo, boots, weapons, everything, helmet, glasses, bulletproof, everything. They're maxed out. They're maxed out. The Iraqi soldiers had AK-47s wrapped around their T-shirts, and they were like walking out. And I'm like, that was the contrast to me. And I was like, wow. Like, and that's when the movie really feels like you're watching it, and you're like, they have. I'm not trying to be political. They have no business being there in the first place. Like, that's when you realize how out of touch the American military looked like in that movie.
And if anything, it showed on like the first operation group. Like they really felt like they needed to leave, and it was mostly because like they were severely wounded and they were about to die, but more so because you had this impending dread of, we do not belong here, we must go. And it was never said once in the movie. But all about the mission, you could see it in their mind, in the way they reacted, in the way they were trying to keep it all logical, and we're gonna stick to the plan. They realized it's not our home. There's people everywhere. We have no clue what's going on. We're lost. led astray. Please help me. And they're just, they try to like find a way.
Bamboozled. No, it's true.
And it's from the moment that
like,
grenade comes in the house, though. It's the moment the grenade comes in the house, out of the bloom. They were not ready for it, and that is when it starts.
Well, yeah, because as soon as essentially the first like military exchange, the first firefight exchange happens, that too was crazy. Mm-hmm. Very quiet, and then all you hear is like it's like, oh, really good. They didn't Garland and Mendoza didn't use their sound to build hype or build towards something. They just used it to say this is what it was, because really war is seemingly so unexpected. You could sit there and say, okay, we think they're going to come any given minute. It happens. Will Poulter's character says, we are going to face attack any given moment. But he doesn't know. The audio is not telling you that they're coming. You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes all you hear is bullets. It's like, that's not how they sound in that movie, but like, I don't know, like everything sounds so terrifying.
It sounds lethal.
Oh yeah. Whizzing by your head, whizzing into wall. Like you know, and a lot of what I noticed too is that the movie just features a whole lot of shooting at nothing. Like, these guys are scared. Like, that's what I noticed right away. A bomb goes off, smoke everywhere, but they hear bullets, so they're shooting back at what they think they hear. Like, it's just insane. And you realize right then and there that you might be a Navy SEAL, but at the end of the day, you are just a man or a woman, but in this case, you are just a man who is trying to not die right now. Mm-hmm. Like, and
it's crazy to me that like they're trained to lose that natural train of thought. Like, soldiers
are trained to be a Navy SEAL.
They're trained to be like a robot in a way. Like, I will not react, I will do this, that, and this. But the human nature is so strong that when it comes to the time it'll actually happen, it's really trial by fire. It's either you're gonna survive and you're gonna harden, or you're gonna flop and just be on the floor. It's crazy.
And I think look, we're drawing it back to our last episode, but the Hurt Locker did also a good job at that. You can do nothing for some days, but then one thing will happen and your life will be changed. That's what the military is like. And warfare feels like the. Sorry, I don't want to. Warfare just feels like that was their thing. Mm-hmm. Like, when they got home from their service, when Ray Mendoza finally went home, well, he'll never forget that 90 minutes. In that one moment. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the, because he might have done nothing. He might have never shot his gun the whole time, but that day he had to do everything. Like, it's wild, man. War is crazy. Yeah. We genuinely, as a society, do not have a scope on what it means.
And the only scope we have about it is to romanticize it. That's all we do. And
but not even as North Americans, we lose the plot in war a lot because we're so proud of our military prowess. We can take anybody on. Mm-hmm. Bro, these guys don't want to be there. They're fucking scared. Like, send them home. Like, don't, like, I don't know.
About being scared,
it's tough, man.
The thing that links every good war movie together, it's their ability to have a group of soldiers, have them react in different ways, but still be able to follow the order in their own, like, incapacitated way. Like, there was a soldier that was, like, really, really, like, stressed out. Like, in the verge of tears the entire operation. But he still managed to pull through. There was this guy that had, like, a moment of, like, he was lapsing out. He was not even looking at anything else but the void. He was, like, then brought back, finished the mission. The guy that is trying to hold it all together and just flinches. What does he do? He waits in a corner, and when he's ready to go, he goes again. It's just, it shows all the colors that the soldiers have and how, despite that, the survival instinct will still come through. And that was, to me, the biggest prop I could give to all the actors. to be able to portray this this shock, like this unimaginable shock, and just stick to being a soldier and let that show through. That was truly impressive.
I was just looking at the letterbox, just peeking at I genuinely don't get it. I've never been one to really just be like, everybody's, we can all be on the same page. But I don't understand. I would have to sit with somebody who could argue from the other perspective, and who, not that you can't be like a devil's advocate, but who genuinely believes that this movie is trying to do ill intent, like trying to justify what happened in that war. I don't feel like this movie does it all. I think this movie offers closure to Ray Mendoza. You went, you did that. It was the hardest day you're probably ever going to go through in your life. But your guys will live forever in a screen, on the screen, which is beautiful.
And you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the entire operation that went down in that country from like the American side. And again, this is where the argument for like a anti/pro-war movie comes through, where like what the emotion and like the relief that you get from a movie should not impact its intended message. But it is what it essentially comes down to, is this movie will serve for the right people to get a good feeling out of it, and for the right people to get a bad feeling out of it. That is the essence of a polarizing movie, and it is what makes it a good movie. A polarizing movie will be able to like hijack its flaws and jump over them literally, because it is able to capture your emotions in a deeper manner. But that should not be reflective. Like, the score should not be reflective of your emotions out of it. Your taste might impact the way you score it, but to say this movie should not be watched because you felt bad about it or good about it or whatever the hell has it
on account of your political opinion
is not a good like opinion to have.
It's not a good way to view anything.
Nope.
It's not a good
and
way
the
to
same
view
happened
anything.
with the Donald Trump movie with Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. It's just same thing. Like, despite how you stand on the issue, the polarizing-ness of the movie justifies it in a way, because it's meant for you to think.
I just think the only thing that this movie gets held back by in terms of that is the fact that it's a Iraq war film. Like, if we're being honest, this movie takes place in World War II. No one makes the claim that it's a propaganda piece. Like, and you know people only make that claim because of the Iraq war and the involvement of that. But here's what I will say. Whether it's Iraq, America, Russia, Israel, whatever modern war you can think of, there are people who actively sign up to be part of the U.S. military. They do not get to choose what war they get to play in. They fight in whatever war they're asked of. So these guys, we don't know. They all look like very young men in the movie. No older than myself or you. What is to say that these men just enlisted into the military because they didn't know what they wanted to do in life, and now they end up here? Or what if they wanted to be an Navy SEAL and they worked hard for it and they end up here? The point I'm trying to emphasize is this movie's made for the soldiers who are are not relatable. Like the soldiers that you might not know how to empathize with them. The soldiers who don't get to pick where they're going to go, but that's who they are, so they have to. And this is what they have to go through. This is what they had to go through. Ray Mendoza, in an interview, he was sharing a story about how he screened the movie with a special Q&A, and a lady came up to him after the screening in like literal tears. And she says, "My husband went to war. He's been trying to recall, but he can never get the words out, and he never makes it." And you said, and she's like, "I finally understand why he is the way he is." This is life-lasting effects on people. Like, that's what I feel like this movie does a good job. I was watching this and I'm like, yeah, they're fucked up forever. Like, you saw it on Will Poulter, his character, tells Charles Melton's character, "Look, I'm fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not like he's not bleeding. There's no concussion. There's no pain. I'm fucked up. I can't.
Mm-hmm. It's all
I
in
can't
there,
lead.
and
It's
the
all
damage
mental."
that's in there can't be cured.
Oh yeah,
It's,
and that's damage that they take with them forever. I shouted it out last week on the Hurt Locker episode, but My Best Friend Zoe is a movie about PTSD, and it is gold, like literal gold. I urge people to watch that movie because it is the tie-in. Anybody who watches a war movie should watch my dead friend Zoe after it to understand the impact these things had on people. Movies tell stories. Sometimes they're real, sometimes they're fake, and sometimes they're made to educate, and sometimes they're made to entertain. And this movie is designed to make you understand, make you compassionate, make you empathetic, because it is.
We know when people say an image is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
This movie, for all intents and purposes, serves that, because for a soldier to describe what they have seen, you don't have the words. You cannot describe what's going on. You have to see it, because it's unfathomable. You can't even. It's not recallable. And even for me, as I watched the movie, I've never went to war, and hopefully I'll never have to. But like, the idea of, if someone came up to me and asked me, "Oh, how warfare was? Like, what made it so good?" I was like, I can't even tell you what made it so good, because it's an experience to see it.
I was talking.
What you're gonna get out of it is needed from it itself.
Yeah, I was telling my dad, I'm like, the movie's amazing. He's like, "What's it even about?" I'm like, "They're in a house, and they're trying to leave." And he's like, "I'm like, yeah, but you gotta watch it." Like they're trying to do something. Like the simple tasks are impossible. Like, I'm in a house trying to leave. Open the door. No, you cannot. Like, I don't know. I think this movie just hits not me, but it will hit a specific community on a deeper level, a level that they can appreciate. It is not made to glory, and people who argue that the bravery, like it's a piece about the bravery of the U.S. military and the heroism. To me, you can argue that bravery and heroism exist in this movie, but it is all due to the men, not to the flag.
It exists, but on both sides. It's the people.
Oh yeah,
themselves.
absolutely.
Because like you can say,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's the people. Look, it's not about the flag. It's the literal the people.
Okay, what is the bravest thing you can do? All right, as a soldier trying to fend off the attacks of the Iraqis in that situation, or the Iraqis themselves facing the biggest nation in the entire fucking world and being like, it doesn't matter, we're gonna kick them out of there.
Yeah.
What is the bravest out of the two?
Well,
and that is the argument I would tell to the people that say it is there to glorify, like, U.S. military. I'm sorry, but it is not.
No, it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it to you and me. That's for sure. And also, what I wanted to say is, like, you all talk about being a hero. What does it take to be a hero? I don't care what nationality or skin color or race you are. If you save somebody's life, you're a hero. These guys, yes, they're wearing American patches, but at some point, it doesn't matter anymore. They're just trying to save each other. It literally that has never been more transparent than in a scene where Charles Melton tells his soldier to fake being an authority to get the help that they need. Just get on the walkie-talkie and say you're the boss and lie. We need help. We need help. And so they do it, and that's a moment where I'm like, it really doesn't matter what country these guys were fighting for at this point. They all speak the same language and they all want to stay alive. Like, that's all it came down to. And on the other side, it's the same thing. They're in their neighborhood. They don't want to die. Like, they're afraid, so they stay. Fantastic movie. Look, we're not going to drag on and on forever about it. If you haven't seen Warfare, you didn't want to see Warfare, you should see Warfare. Go. please go, because I don't think it'll last long in a theater.
And it's not a movie you could really watch at home, honestly.
You
It's one of
can
the-
if you want to, but
it's
I encourage the theatrical experience to benefit from the technical
because it'll lock you in your
masterclass
seat.
of it. Oh yeah,
It's a
fixed.
movie that, like, I'm sorry,
Seat belted down.
Mhm. Because I'm not someone that does well with like gruesome scenes for the sake of it. But like this movie had them, and it's not that like I'm meant for like graciously, like in Terrifier 3, that's not my thing.
Oh
I hate
no,
that.
no.
But
They're not gory.
no, they're not gore, but it's the idea of what you're seeing is so real. Like, I hate to just use that simple word, but it's
Visceral.
so real, visceral, and you can't help to put yourself in their shoes. And I know that if I was the guy trying to like stabilize the guy that's bleeding to death in front of me, that has like multiple wounds all over his body, I would feel so tiny. Like I wouldn't have it. And being in a theater forces you to just watch and sit with that idea for an hour and 30.
I struggle with gore. Like, I wouldn't do it. In this movie, though, I felt the urge to... It's weird, because I'm obviously just sitting in a theater seat. I felt the urge to help. Movies don't do that. You don't feel like you need to help them. Like, I'm like, oh, shit, okay, yeah, he needs the wound. Get the gauze, get the gauze, get the... You know, like, I'm like... a lot of the times I'll watch a movie and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to touch that. In this movie, I'm like... No,
But
we
you
have
must.
to touch.
Yeah,
we
you
have to
must.
touch this. We have to get our hands in here and help him. And what more can you ask? What more can you ask than a movie that lifts you off your seat, but keeps you grounded into it at the same time?
Nothing.
Fantastic.
Which is
job.
why you and I gave it 5 stars.
5 stars, which is rare for me because I don't give movies grades unless they get 5 stars. 5 beans. 5 beans, highest rated movie of the year for me thus far. I love it. I loved Warfare, and I think if you want to, I'll get into it right away. We gotta get the letterboxes going into these descriptions because people should read what we have to say when we have things to say. But yeah, I read my letterbox review. If you want to read my other ones, you can. You go to Letterbox. Outside of that, it's Warfare. It's fantastic, and you should watch it on in your theater if it plays. I hope it plays near you because it's worth it. Outside of that, we hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of the CineCloud podcast. If you liked it, feel free to like it for real. And then you could also subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on audio only, follow. If you rate us 5 stars or whatever you feel like, we do appreciate that as well. If you did not like it, but you think somebody else might, feel free to share it. And if you liked it and somebody else might, share it to them as well. It'll help us and we appreciate it a lot. That being said, we will see you at our regular time. We don't do a really good job at differentiating what our episodes are. This is technically
They come out when they come out. They're like
when they come out.
They're little treats.
We will see you next time. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
See you.